Hi. Um, this isn't a regular episode. Um, uh, this is Amy Shannon from Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Um, and I am heartbroken to announce that true crime author Dennis Carson passed away. He um, he and I became friends over having conversations, not just um, on the air. Um, at this point, he was the most interviewed um, guest on my show. And we also spent a lot of time after the recording ended talking. Um, One thing that I must say, I really appreciated was that I am in no way, a true crime author. I'm not anything about law enforcement. I had my own experience, my own true crime experience, but I really invest into, I love reading true crime books and talking with the authors now that I have the opportunity. And um, just by what I know and with talking with Dennis, I learned a lot. Um, but when I had comments or questions, he made me feel like I knew what I was talking about. And I'm only getting just from what I've researched I've done for you know police procedural books that I've written, or crime books, and what I've learned off of watching true crime documentaries or police procedurals, things like that. And he he just gave me that impression that uh, I knew what I was talking about, that I was smart and intelligent, which sometimes I don't feel that way. And that's just some personal issues. People sometimes do dumb things. Um, but it doesn't mean they're dumb, but sometimes it makes you feel like you are. Um, I Dennis called me the night before I was scheduled to have my arm surgery. And I had written him an email letting him know that I was, when I recuperated, that we could set out a schedule, because I had invited Dennis to be a recurring monthly guest on for my true crime segment. I was going to do a second episode the first Monday of the month, and Dennis and I were going to talk about individual cases that are in his book. Every Killer Leaves a Trace. And we were supposed to um, set up a schedule and do recordings. And he said he was going to mail me a copy of his book, a side copy. I hope that he did say he put it in the mail, so I look forward to receiving it. Um, this is the second time I've done a podcast in memory of someone that I became friends with. And one thing that I have learned is that you don't have to be in the same city to be friends. You can have friends from around the world. You don't even have to meet people in person. But if you talk to them, I mean, having actual conversations with them. And that's what I did with Dennis, and I do with a lot of authors who come on my show. I find that sometimes after the show has been recorded, we continue conversations, and I cherish each of those. Um, in July, um, July 19th episode. There's a spotlight episode where Dennis talks about his book and more about some cases that are in his book. And these cases are they're very interesting because they're about the simple mistakes that a killer made that got him caught. And Dennis really loved talking about the cases and how you know, how it, not only he thought some criminals were just dumb, but he also shared information about something that happened to him personally, where he realized that, just because someone is a criminal, a killer, or whatever, doesn't mean that they're, um, in some ways, not a regular person. They have families and some have children and wives, um, family that support them through their mistakes. And then there are those, that are psychopaths or sociopaths, and um, it is so hard to talk about this. And, um, that deserve what they get. Of course, people who commit crimes, our justice system is not perfect, but it's the only system we have. And when you think about it, nothing in life is perfect. I woke up this morning, and when I checked my email, I saw an email. All I saw was from Dennis Carson. And I thought, oh, cool. You know, I was very looking forward to see what he had written. And it turned out it was from his partner, and informing me that Dennis had died the evening before. And my heart just dropped. It sunk. And I don't even know what to say. I know that I have an interview with him and another author, and I had the best conversations, and we laughed and we talked and they shared stories, and it was just so amazing. And then I asked if someone, or Dennis asked me if he could come on my show again. And of course. And after we did the spotlight episode, we did another episode because which played earlier, uh the first Monday in March. Um so he wanted to be I asked him if he would be the the first episode of my true crime segment. I felt that um I have had contact with enough authors that do true crime to have a segment. I must admit that the segments that I have, I created them because those are what I really love. Um, I think of the interviews as conversations. Um, and Dennis really liked the title that I gave to the true crime segment. Um, Voices behind the crime, the people, the pain, the truth, because that's what I like to do. I want to look behind the stories, behind the people, you know, the raw emotion, um, no, not to sensationalize the crime, the criminal, it doesn't matter, to honor the victim in a way that um, you just want to be remembered. And all I can uh, think about right now is how much I'm going to miss my conversations with Dennis. He would tell me stories about his friends in the medical examiner's office. Some had passed away, some he was with currently. He just loved what he did. He would have cases dropped in his lap. He would be co authors with other true crime writers. And anyone who had contact with him just, I have to believe that they just loved him. And it was, his stories were so incredible and they were true. And that's what, not only was he a great writer and a great speaker, but you could tell that he was a great person and a wonderful man. And I am really going to miss our conversations. It's just one of those things that I don't, I can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my heart around it. I mean, I just talked to him not that long ago, and it was just one of those things I just can't seem to grasp yet. But I wanted to get this off my chest, uh, out of my heart, because it hurts really bad. And I can't imagine what his family is feeling at this moment. My heart goes out to all of Dennis's friends and family, the people he loved and the people who loved him. And he was just one of those guys that you just would love to sit and talk to for hours. So, do you keep honoring Dennis? Read his books. Those were things that, read his stories, share with others. By purchasing those books, you can help support his family. Um, and even if it's the smallest way, um, reading his words, continuing to have that legacy that Dennis has. And he is someone that I won't ever forget. So I dedicate this episode, past episodes with Dennis Carson. And in July, his spotlight episode is dedicated to his memory. This has been Amy Shannon from Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Thank you for listening.